In this example, I need to find the domain of the following rational functions and write the answer in interval notation. Here are my two rational functions, and quickly reviewing, the domain of a rational function is all real numbers except values of x that make the denominator equal to 0. So looking at our first example where I have f of x equals x plus 7 all divided by x squared minus 49, I need to figure out the values of x that make this denominator of x squared minus 49 equal to 0. This is a simple quadratic equation. Does x squared minus 49 factor? Yes, this is the difference of two squares. So I'm going to get the square root of x squared, which is x. The square root of 49 is 7, and I need opposite signs in my parentheses. Two factors multiplied together equals 0. Set each of them equal to 0. So I have x plus 7 equals 0 and x minus 7 equals 0. The first one, subtract 7 from both sides, you get x equals negative 7. The second one, add 7 to both sides, you get x equals positive 7. So these are the two values that I'm going to have to exclude from the domain. So the domain is going to be all real numbers except x equals negative 7 and positive 7. Now I need to write the answer in interval notation. It helps to sketch the graph on the number line. The two numbers I cannot include are negative 7 and positive 7. But I need everything to the left of negative 7, everything between negative 7 and positive 7, everything to the right of positive 7. So my first interval starts at negative infinity, goes all the way up to negative 7, but you must put a parenthesis on the negative 7 because you don't want to include it. Unioned with the next interval, parentheses negative 7 to 7, again with parentheses, unioned with parentheses 7 to infinity. So that is the domain of the first example written in interval notation. One last thing I want to point out with this example is that if I write my factored form up here, I'm going to have x plus 7 divided by x plus 7 times x minus 7. Now in this example, the x plus 7s will reduce, but that will not affect the domain. You always have to find the domain using the denominator before you simplify the rational expression. Now looking at our second example, to find the numbers that we have to exclude from the domain, I set my denominator of x squared plus 9 equal to 0. This is the sum of two squares. It doesn't factor. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, so I get x squared equals negative 9. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides, so I get x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 9. So x equals plus or minus, what's the square root of a negative number? It's an imaginary number. So the square root of negative 9 is 3i. So I have the values x equals plus or minus 3i. but these are not real numbers. These are imaginary numbers. So I don't have any real numbers to throw out of the domain. So my domain in this case is going to be all real numbers. And one last thing, I need to write the answer in interval notation, and the way we do that is all real numbers is negative infinity to positive infinity.